Alright, for your next project you are going to be making a coiled pot. So you start out with a small chunk of clay, don't get too much clay, and then you roll it with your hand, not with your fingers, back and forth to form a coil. This takes some practice. You want to make sure your coil is nice and round and even and not all chunky and uneven thickness. See, just roll it back and forth, back and forth. Should be about a 1/4 inch in diameter. Next, you're going to spiral the coil because this will be your bottom. Yeah, keep turning it and spiraling it together. And I think that this is a little too small for my bottom, so I'm going to add another coil to it. I'm going to roll out some more clay. And then I'm going to continue to spiral once my coil is rolled up. I'm just going to continue where my last coil ended. Right, that's about the size that I want it to be. But now I need to blend it together. For this project you will not be scoring or using slip. Your clay is soft, so you're going to blend all the coils together, and that will be the only thing that is holding your coils together. So make sure you blend it very well. You can use your fingers like I'm doing, or you can use your wooden tool as well, whichever you prefer. But make sure you blend it all the way. You should not see any evidence of coils being there, except for when you flip it over. Your coils will be right there. So on the outside your coiled pot will have coils. On the inside it will be all blended together. So now I'm going to add some height to it. I'm going to continue rolling some coils. Again, same thickness. And I'm going to add them to it to get taller. The coiled pot should be 8 inches tall. So I'm going to put that coil on the outside, not on the outside, but on the edge of that last coil. I'm going to add it to the bottom. Okay, so it's on top of the bottom. There you go. Now you can see it. Now where it overlaps, I'm going to cut that even so it will be a perfect fit. So with my needle tool, I'm going to cut through both of them. And I'm removing the extra pieces. So then it's a perfect fit, and I'm going to blend that together a little bit so you cannot see it was cut right there. Just like that. So the next thing I'm going to do is blend that coil to the bottom. I'm going to use my wooden tool for that. Again, you can use your finger. Don't use any water. This way, I want to make sure that that coil I just added to it is stuck to the bottom. And it's not going to fall off. Because remember, I'm not scoring and I'm not using slip. You support the coil on the outside with your other hand. And then once I blended that with the wooden tool, I'm going to clean it a little bit with my finger so it looks a lot smoother and cleaner. Just like that. Next, I'm going to add different coils and different designs to my coiled pot. For example, little balls of clay. Just roll them in your hand or on the table. Make sure they're about the same size. Another design that I can add to my coiled pot could be a swirl. So I roll a coil and then roll them up, but in different directions from each end to get like a little swirl. I can make zigzags, so I fold them in a zigzag way and use that as a design element in my coiled pot. And I can also add a layer of like little bars of clay, all about the same size. So it almost looks like a little log cabin. And I can also use spirals like the one I used for the bottom as a design element for my coiled pot. So you need to put at least 3 different design elements on your coiled pot. You can come up with your own ideas as well. So here you can see me build it. I use spirals, I use logs, I use balls of clay, and each time I add clay to it, I'm going to blend it in on the inside, because again, that is the only thing that's keeping the coils and the coiled pot together, especially when it starts to dry or when it's in the kiln. It has happened many times when I pick up the coiled pots. I just have a section in my hands because it was not blended enough. The reason you're not using water is because it gets too soft and it can collapse on you. So your coiled pot has to be 8 inches tall, and it's okay if it's shorter, but then you get some points taken off, and you can repeat some of the design elements in your coiled pot as well, so I can continue to add more swirls or more logs or more balls of clay. Also, when you want to go out with your coiled pot, you want it to get wider, you place them slightly on the outside of the coil underneath it, and if you want to bring your coiled pot back in to make it smaller, you bring it more to the inside, and make sure you blend it really well. So for my last design element, I'm going to add a couple more layers of balls of clay. So I want to make sure I blend the balls of clay to the bottom coil and to each other. I'm going to add one more layer to it. And you got to keep blending. Make sure on the inside everything looks smooth. No gaps, no holes. Because again, and you should not detect any coils on the inside either. So everything needs to be blended. Otherwise it will fall apart. Very last part, I'm going to add a coil to it just to finish it up. It's okay if your top's not flat or even. It is a coiled pot. and it is handmade. Right, here are some examples, and enjoy making your coiled pot.